Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glitzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing today. Okay, so as you guys know, there's I mean, as you guys know, Tim Smith came out a couple of days ago and was talking about Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, okay, and about how they don't have the money for the fight. So I came out and I said a few things about that, okay, and our people came out and talked, but we're gonna continue to talk about it some more, and so we are seeing the plan, okay. There's a plan in place, and like this plan has been in place for quite some time, but unfortunately, a lot of these boxing pundits, YouTubers, new media, they're not really, either they're not seeing the plan or they don't want to, reveal the plan. But today we're going to reveal the plan, okay? So from what it looks like to us, this plan, that they have to like basically freeze Crawford out of welterweight, okay? So basically what's going on, as far as I can see, as you can see, graphic that I put up, and I purposely let the graphic stay up for like about 2 minutes before I started recording so that you can actually see it. So as you can see, and as you all know, Errol Spence don't want this fight with Terence Crawford, and he's been avoiding the fight for the past 3 years. And not only that, he actually came out of his mouth and actually said it from his own lips that that the fight with Terence Crawford is not in the plans. Okay, that was never in the plan. Now a lot of people out there talking about Errol Spence, he's going to clean up his side of the street, and then he was going to go for Terence Crawford. But as we can see, that's not the case. Okay, because there is nobody else on the side of the street for Errol Spence to clean up. I mean, at the end of the day, the fight with Ugas is a unification fight. So that fight, Errol Spence basically took that fight to, as he did many fights previously, to avoid Terence Crawford. Okay, so that's fight to avoid Terence Crawford, and just to show you guys what's really going on. I mean, because you have a lot of people out here who don't really want to see the facts. Okay, even when the facts are staring them straight in the face. So after this, a lot of people start saying, well, okay, they're not mad at the Ugas fight, okay, because this is the same thing that's been going on over and over, for many years now. Is that first they said Crawford had to fight Book, then he had to fight Porter, okay, and those fights between Book and Porter, those fights should have been as a matter of fact, the Danny Garcia fight should have been the Terence Crawford and Spence fight, okay, but that didn't happen. So Spence chose to fight Danny Garcia instead, and even Crawford had said that he didn't want to fight Spence coming off an injury, and the Danny Garcia fight was off the injury. So Crawford went to the fight between to see how Spence was going to look in that fight, because he already said he didn't want Spence off of an injury because he wanted to get credit for beating Spence. So he went to the fight, and he's to see how Spence looked, and wanted to probably get in the ring with Spence. And a lot of people was get upset about that. Spence in his press conference said that he don't know why Terence Crawford came, because he wouldn't go to any of his fights, and the whole 9 yards. So basically, instead of Spence taking the opportunity to build a fight and to to give people more red meat that the fight is coming, he chose to say that he don't know why Terence Crawford came to his fight. And if he was him, he wouldn't have come. And all you want to do is go to his ranch and play with his horses. These are the things that Errol Spence has been saying about this fight that, we all have been talking about. I've been looking for the past 3 years now. Okay. So while we've been looking forward for this fight, okay, at every opportunity where the fight is supposed to happen, Errol Spence put up a roadblock, or PBC and Errol Spence put up a roadblock. Okay. So, first they threw out Kell Brook out there to, in front of Errol Spence instead of him fighting Crawford. They threw Kell Brook out there. He dispatched Kell Brook. Then they said, Kell Brook, we need somebody else to show what he can really do. We need Sean Porter. Nobody can stop Sean Porter. We're gonna put Sean Porter out there. So they pushed Sean Porter out there in front of Crawford to block him from Errol Spence. He took care of Crawford. He took care of Porter, not stop Porter. Nobody else ever done that before. So he stopped Porter. So now, he's getting close to Spence now because, this is all this thing about fighting Crawford. About fighting Porter, about fighting Brook, about fighting all these other guys. It's just an attempt to get Spence away from it. These are all just blocking moves to stop the fight between Spence and Crawford because, again, Spence does not want to fight. Okay. And, he has came out and said he doesn't want to fight. And he just came out and said the fight is not going to happen. Okay. And so after that fight now, a lot of people start saying, okay, after the fight between Porter and, Crawford, a lot of people say, okay, this is real. We got to get this next fight. We got to get Crawford and Spence next. And even some of Spence fans, was saying, yeah, we got to get this fight next. So Spence fans started coming out. I'm not talking about the nut huggers because the nut huggers are always going to try to avoid the fight between Spence. They're not going to ever say that this fight should happen. But, you have Spence have real fans, okay? Real fight fans. He don't just have nut hugging fans. He has real fans who want to see him fight Crawford because they think that, Spence is the best and they want to see him fight Crawford. But you have huggers who they don't want that. Okay, they don't want to see that at any chance. All right, they don't want to see that all. So bottom line, what happened after the Porter fight? Lo and behold, Tim Smith, of all people, this is just to make sure that you people out here knows that this is the real deal. Okay. They don't want you to have any illusions about this fight that's supposed to be coming up next between Crawford and Spence. So they sent out the vice president, okay, and the PBC, okay, the communications guy. They sent them out. The big cheese. That's you can't get much higher than that in the PBC hierarchy. In other words, okay. So you people out here have been thinking that this fight is going to happen and that, people talking about the fight is going to happen next. And Spence is going to fight Crawford next. And DBC, just to make sure that you guys get the big picture and understand what's going on, they sent Tim Smith out there to let you know that this fight is never going to happen. Okay? This is what they did. But, you have all these pundits still out here talking, Errol Spence wanted to fight. No, Tim Smith just came out and told you that this fight is not going to happen. They don't care what you people out here might be thinking or what you might be calling for, or out there. And then the worst of all, the fact that you out there talking about this fight is coming next, they sent Tim Smith out to clear the air. And Tim Smith, what did Tim Smith say? There's no money for this fight. Okay. What more do you need to know? Okay, what more do people right now as I'm speaking right now? You have because if you notice the first after Tim Smith came out and talked about that and said that there's no money for the fight and they don't want to disrespect Crawford, the nonsense he was spewing. Okay, not long after that, what happened? just to show you how the narratives are getting done. You know, I want to see, because right now we got to expose what's going on. So not even a day after that, Blue Blood Sports come out a video on his YouTube channel about, oh well, Terence Crawford is, you know, is going to move up to 154 pounds and fight Jermell Charlo. What? So they resurrect some old news and bring that out and say that's, you know, that's the narrative they're running now. Because so instead of Blue Blood Sports coming out and saying, look, we don't want to see no fight, you know, between we don't want to see Crawford move up to 154 pounds. We want him to fight Errol Spence. Okay, instead of these guys saying that, instead they start talking about you know, Crawford moving up after Tim Smith came out and said there's no money for the fight. They didn't even, you know, they didn't really, you know, they said a few things about it, you know, but not much. And then they run to the next narrative, which is they want Terence, and the next narrative is probably what, you know, that's probably their marching orders. So they were probably directed to come out with the new narrative now, since we know what the deal is, that they don't want to fight with Crawford. As Tim Smith said, they don't have no budget for that, even though they have $50 million to pay Canelo, and they have a whole bunch of money to pay Barrios, and they're going to pay Thurman to fight in an elimination to be in an elimination for a title fight against Spence when Thurman hasn't fought in 3 years. Okay, so I mean, you know, we got to really see what's going on, people. And so, you know, after Tim Smith came out and said what he said, then, you know, I guess he sent out his directive to the YouTube crew to run the narratives and to spin the narratives. So now they come out and say, oh, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford is going to move up to 154 pounds and challenge Jermell Charlo, and in that way he can get more credibility and more props in a fight. What the hell are these guys talking about? Terence Crawford don't need any more credibility to take a fight with Errol Spence, okay, to get a fight with Errol Spence. All this stuff about Errol Spence being a star and this and that, it's a whole bunch of nonsense. So at the end of the day, we see the games, okay? We see what the games are. They're playing games. And, you know, as you can see, I don't care what people are saying, okay? These YouTube guys, they can say what they want, but I know what Errol Spence is saying, and I've seen what he's saying, and I see what Tim Smith is saying, you know, the VP, communications at PBC, okay? There's no money for this fight. We have plenty of money for Canelo. We have plenty of money for any other fight out there, okay? But we don't have any money for Crawford. I'm sorry, we don't have enough money for that fight. We have $50 million for Canelo, but you know, we don't have it for Crawford. Sorry. So you have $50 million for Canelo. You have all kind of money to make all kind of dirt fights. You know, these exhibition like fights that you put now with, you know, with these guys. Fights that nobody want to see, but the fight that everybody wants to see, the biggest fight in boxing, don't have any money for that. So now you tell me, people, how does that make any sense? Okay, tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how is that Errol Spence want to fight? What do you need to see for you to know that Errol Spence don't want this fight and that they're trying to keep Errol Spence away from Terence Crawford, and that Errol Spence is on it? Because he's not saying anything against it. I mean, Errol Spence will come out and say, look, man, you know what? Enough of this nonsense. I want to fight Crawford. I want to fight him next. If he said that, what do you think the PBC is going to do? They would have to make the fight, because you'd be exposing them, and they would have to do it. But Errol Spence is not coming out and saying nothing like that, okay? And you're never going to see him say anything like that, because the main person ducking this fight is Errol Spence, okay? And the PBC is just backing him up with that, okay? And that's basically what it comes down to, okay? So it is what it is. So now you have they have their lackeys, Blue Blood Sports and Phantom Boxing to go out there and spin a new narrative now about Terence Crawford moving up to 54 pounds and fighting Jermell Charlo, okay? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as a plan, down the line. But if I'm Crawford, I'm not leaving 154 pounds until I fight Errol Spence. Okay? I'm not doing it. Leaving 154 pounds until Errol Spence either fight me, vacate the belt, or move up. And if he move up, I'm going up after him. Okay? So this is what it is. And you know, if I'm Crawford, that's what I'll be doing. Okay? Now let's talk about him moving to 154. Why would he move to 154 now when there's one more fight left at 147, and then Spence will either have to vacate, run, or fight him? He just gotta wait until after the fight. Spence gotta either have to vacate, he's gonna have to either move up, or he's gonna have to retire. Okay? But he's gonna have to do something. He's gonna have to do something. And so if I'm Crawford, I'm just gonna stick around at 147 for that, because I want undisputed 147 if I'm Crawford. Okay. So all this talk trying to get, you know, these guys are trying to get Errol to get Crawford to leave the belt. They want him to leave the belt at 147 and just give it to Spence. Okay. They don't want Spence to fight for the belt. Okay. They want Crawford to email the belt to Spence. That's basically what they're asking for. That's what Blue Blood Sports is asking for. That's what fans is asking for. That's the narrative they're running right now. Okay, they want Crawford to move up and email the belt to Errol Spence, so Spence don't have to fight Crawford for the belt. That's, to them, that's the ultimate outcome. Okay, you hear Blue Blood Sports talking about it like it's that's what we need to do, because that would be smart, because then Crawford, man, don't start that nonsense, boy. Nobody listen to that. I don't think Crawford is bad, okay, and I don't think Crawford and them came out and said that. I mean, I know Crawford is you know, that's old news. These guys are like bringing that up from way back when he was having a dispute with Jermell Charlo. You man, Jermell Charlo had a few words, and he said something about, you know, going up there. So, and dealing with Jermell Charlo. So these guys correcting that now. These guys are such a bunch of cowards, man. I mean, instead of them, you know, saying, look, man, enough is it. We need to get the fight between, you know, what's this, you know, Tim Smith. And now, as a matter of fact, just for a second, let me just digress for a minute. Tim Smith had came out, you know, because we saw them float a plan, okay? And this plan, the plan was to, hey, Conegma, what on, bro? Conegma, Ewell Thomas, what's up, guys? I don't know if you're still here, but I found chat. I was cooking, so I wasn't paying attention to the chat, but I'm here now. So I got you guys. So what's up? So now, you know, these guys, instead of, you know, these are pundits, you know, instead of them, you know, saying, look, man, enough is enough. Let's get this fight going. Because Blue Blood Sports, you know, when they had floated the rumor, and this is what PBC did. They floated this rumor out. You know, they sent out Keith Thurman out to say that his fight with Mario Barrios was going to be a title eliminator to face Spence next, right? This is after Tim Smith came out and said they have no money for the Crawford fight, but they have money to pay Mario Barrios and Keith Thurman in a title eliminator, what's it going to have. And then after that, they expect that Keith Thurman would fight Spence. So instead of fighting Crawford, they want Keith Thurman to fight Spence. So they floated that idea, and even Blue Blood Sports wasn't having that. I mean, even though he's a Spence nut hugger, he still was like, oh no, that's just even for me as a nut hugger, that's too much. That's too much. You guys are going too far now. So he was against that, okay? So he spoke out against that. But I don't know what happened between that point and now. They sent him a message from PBC like, hey, Blue, man, you're going off the, you know, you're leaving the road, bro. You're supposed to be you're leaving the straight and narrow, man. Go back to the narrative, bro. So next thing you know, here he is talking about, I mean, this is no coincidence, people, because as soon as Blue Blood comes out with his narrative about Charlo and Crawford fighting possibly. The very next day, or the same hours later, the same day, Fannin come out with the same narrative. You know, Crawford went up to 154. So these guys work together. So you got to look at this and see for what it is, okay? And they get their directions from somebody else. That's not their, just their narrative alone, okay? It looked like to me that they're getting directions. And so we can see everything work in tandem, okay? If you look at what PBC is saying, look at what Blue Blood Sport is talking about, and look at what Fannin is talking about, and you're going to see a direct line from PBC to Blue Blood Sports to Fannin Boxing and the narrative that we see spinning daily, okay? So that's my opinion on that. That's my assessment of what I think is going on with that. So. Exactly, Conigma. That's exactly what's going on. These guys, I mean, and you have, so now I'm gonna tell you something right now, Con. Now I don't have much, I don't put much in what Blue Blood Sports and Fannin is saying today, but those guys, I mean, Fannin and Blue Blood Sport, they're anything but stupid, okay? These guys are not stupid, okay? So for them not to see the same thing that we're seeing, and to continue with the narrative about Errol Spence wanting this fight, that they got to be spinning a narrative, bro, and that somebody's directing them to do that, okay? Because they smart enough to see it on their own, but they're not saying that. They're not talking it. They're just spinning the same narrative about, Spence, Spence fighting Spence. I mean, they try to find any little straw to lean on to say that Spence wanted to fight when they know that Spence don't want to fight. He never said that he wanted to fight, and every chance he gets, he throws water on that fire for that fight. And so now that not just Spence, but PBC themselves, and not just anybody in the not just some guy in the PBC, okay? We're talking about the top guy in the PBC coming out and saying, hey, we don't have, this fight is not going to happen. We don't have enough money for this fight. And these guys are still running their narrative. Right? So you know what time it is, man. You know what I mean? Because this is the big boss of PBC telling you that this fight is not going to happen. Spence is not going to take this fight. And you don't hear Spence coming out and saying anything different. You don't hear Spence coming out and saying, yeah, well, they don't want me to take the fight, but I want the fight anyway. No, he's not going to do that because, again, he's the source of the whole thing in the first place. He's the one that don't want the fight, okay? From the very beginning, he never wanted this fight. And everybody else got to rally him and help him to duck. And so that's what they're doing because that's their boy. And that's their quote-unquote cash cow. So they don't want Spence, to go out there and face Crawford and end up like Porter did. I mean, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And not only that will probably happen, but it will probably happen quicker. Okay? So, it is what it is. So right now, as I'm talking, you have Fannin over there on his channel, okay, talking about the same but he's up there running a narrative about going to 154 pounds, the day before that, Blue Blood Sports came out with the narrative, and then, his relay partner, Fannin, picks it up and runs with it, okay? And that's how they do it. Okay, and they've been doing that now for quite a while, scamming the fans, I'm saying, basically, with their narratives and that they're getting from, probably from the PBC, and whoever else. Nah. Okay, you are Thomas. No, that's not right. You're not correct about that, my brother. That is not correct. You can't. First of all, the WBO won't allow you to hold the 147-pound belt and the 104-pound belt at the same time. It's not gonna. They don't do that. That's once. If you want to go for the 154-pound, if you want to challenge for the 154-pound WBO belt, and you're a 147-pound WBO champion, you have to give up your belt. Okay, you have to vacate the title and then move up and fight the champion at that weight at 154. But you can't keep the belt and move up, and then move back down and get the belt and take the belt, unless you're going to move up 154 pounds, fight the champion up there, beat him, then move back down and challenge for the belt again against whoever is going to have it, because somebody else is going to have it or it's going to be vacant. Okay, but we already know that if Crawford vacates that belt, whoever grabs the belt after that, that's the first person Spence is going to head for. Okay, he's going to call that person out immediately. That is, okay. But he never would call out Crawford, but he would call out that person. Then you'll see Spence actually campaigning for the belt at 147 once Crawford leaves. But he's not going to do it before that, and he's not going to want that belt or fight for that belt. He's not going to challenge Crawford for the belt. It's not going to happen, people. And you've seen it for yourself. And I don't care what people out there saying, telling you. You should have enough common sense by now to realize what's really going on. Okay, they're putting it right in your face. I said, you can't see it what's going on. Okay, they're putting it right in front of your face for you to see it. So it is what it is. So more than likely, you would probably see Spence. Well, you probably see Virgil Ortiz and somebody else fight for the belt in an elimination bout. Okay. And whoever picks up that belt, probably Virgil Ortiz, and then you'll have Spence challenging him for the belt, which is what they want, because they feel that Spence have a better chance against Ortiz than he does against Crawford. So they don't want him at face Crawford at any cost. They know how that's going to end. They think they know that's how it's going to end. So they don't really want to, because that the way Crawford and Porter ended, so they don't want to see that. So they're going to do everything in their power to avoid that fight with Crawford. And you see it playing out as we speak. So, it shouldn't be any mystery to anybody. Okay. First, they talk about Thurman facing Spence next. Then they talk about, Crawford moving up to 150. So they're hoping that Crawford does this, move up to 154 pounds. Okay. And get out of the way that Spence can get the belt at 147 pounds. And, and now, if Crawford, let's just say that Crawford moved up to 154 pounds and took the belt from Charlo or Castano, okay? One thing would be guaranteed: Spence would not move up to 154 pounds. He would stay at 147 pounds, okay? You think Spence is going to move up to 154 pounds where Crawford is, and Crawford is undisputed up there and he's going to move up there and fight Crawford when he would even fight Crawford at 147 pounds? You trying to tell me that Spence is going to fight Crawford after Crawford beat Jermell Charlo at 154 pounds? Spence is going to say, "Oh, I want to challenge you now," when he wouldn't challenge Crawford before he fought, beat a guy like a monster like Jermell Charlo. He wouldn't fight him before that fight, but he's going to fight him after he beat. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So the people talking that, spinning those narratives, it's just talking foolishness. Okay? It's just pure foolishness. So you try to tell me Spence, before Crawford slayed the dragon, Spence is scared to fight him. But after he slayed the dragon, Spence is going to want to fight him after he slayed the dragon? Come on, people. Wake up and stuff. You gotta think, you gotta think with some common sense. Spence ain't moving nowhere to 100. If anywhere Crawford is, Spence ain't going there. Okay. And we see him trying to get away from Crawford now. Just imagine if Crawford went up to 154 pounds and beat Jermell Charlo. You think Spence is gonna want to fight him after that? Oh man, I'd love to see that. That's not gonna happen. Okay. So right now, that's their plan. The unholy plan they have. They want Crawford out the way by any means necessary, and they're planning and trying every trick in the book to get that done. And we see that. Okay, so we're gonna have to see how it plays out. Eventually. Hopefully Crawford, have something planned for them, and but again, if I'm Crawford, I'm not moving from 147 until I get that fight with I don't care if it's Spence or it's Ugas, okay, and Crawford doesn't really care about Spence like that, and people keep, getting this thing twisted as if Crawford he wants to fight Spence. He don't care about Spence, okay? He could care less about Spence. All he wants is belts. Okay, if Mickey Mouse had the belts, that's who we'd be going after. Okay, so it's not for Crawford. It's not personal. It's not about Spence. It's about the belts. Okay, he wants to be undisputed, and Spence is standing in the way, and that's why he's going after him. So if Spence Crawford come after him, then give up the belts. Then move up, do whatever you gotta do. But if you don't want to fight Crawford, then let the belts go. So again, at this point, the only hope we have of seeing undisputed at 147 2022 is probably if Ugas win this fight with Crawford. With Spence. But then again, Ugas is a dutiful PBC employee, so I don't know if he's gonna want to fight Crawford if he beats Spence. He might take the same. PBC might be telling him the same thing. Hey, you're not leaving that. We're not letting you take a chance with that belt against Crawford because he might win, and then we up the creek without the paddle without no belt at 147. We can't have that. We got to keep that belt. So Ugas might not want to fight Crawford either, but I think Ugas might be a little different than Spence in the fact that there's two reasons. Okay, first and foremost, Ugas already beat Crawford at amateur. Okay, so. And then second thing, Ugas is afraid of Crawford like the way Spence is afraid of Crawford. Okay? I think Ugas have more confidence in his abilities than Spence does. And I think Ugas actually probably believe that he can probably give Spence a fight or give Crawford a fight or actually beat Crawford because he beat him before the amateur. So he probably think he can do it again. Okay? So even though PBC is probably going to tell Ugas, listen, man, we don't want this Spence fight, and we don't want this Crawford fight. We don't want you to take this fight with Crawford. He's probably not going to go along with it. Okay, or he's probably going to come out in the public and say, "I want to fight Crawford next." He already said that. Okay, he doesn't even have the belt yet, and he's already said that he wants Crawford fight. Okay, and Spence has the belt for 4 years, and I've never said that. But I've never been as clear as Ugas about wanting to fight. Okay, so. This is why I'm saying that the only way we probably get this fight is if Ugas becomes the champion, okay? And if PBC don't want the fight, Ugas is going to push for it anyway, and he's going to come out in the public and say he wants it. He's going to basically force PBC to take the fight with Crawford if he becomes champion, okay? He's gonna campaign for the fight. Spence is not going to do that, and he hasn't done that, and he will never do that, okay? He doesn't want the fight, but Ugas probably actually wants the fight. Okay, and he said it, so I gotta go take him at his word. He said he want the fight, and he want that fight after the fight with Spence if he wins. So that's the only way we're gonna get that fight. So at this point, we gotta push for Crawford, for Ugas, to beat Spence, so we can get undisputed because we're not gonna get it any other way, people. Crawford simply just don't want it. Okay. And as far as they're concerned, they see Crawford as a stumbling block in their way. And, the only way, they just want to push him out the way. They don't want to fight him to get him out the way. They want to push him out the way because, at this point, after what Tim Smith has said, and now we see what Tim Smith has said, okay, after this, what other conclusions can we come to, okay? But that the fear for Crawford, is real. These guys are really afraid of this kid Crawford. So when the vice president of the company comes out and said that there's no money for the fight, and but they got money, they got $50 million for Canelo, and they got more for our fights, then that tells you everything you need to know. Okay, they don't want, Spence don't want the fight, and PBC don't want the fight either. That Spence is going to lose to Crawford, and they don't want to lose their quote unquote cash cow, even though it's more like a piggy bank instead of a cash cow. So, it is what it is. But, at this point, I'm not, giving much for this fight. And like I said, as we see the narrative getting spinned, with the Bluebird Sports and the fans of the world, and this talk about Crawford moving to 154 pounds and taking on Jermell Charlo, which is nothing wrong with that, but I think he should do that after he deal with the Spence at 147 or whoever Ugas at 147. So hopefully Ugas is going to take this fight. Okay, it would be great if Ugas won this fight so we can get undisputed, with a quickness, because again, Errol Spence is a big disappointment, man. I mean, I thought this kid was going to be, a shining star at 147 pounds, but he had basically turned into like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to call it. I mean, here's a guy who, when Thurman had both belts and Crawford was calling out Thurman. I mean, I remember when Crawford called out Thurman at 100 and I think he was still 140. He was just moving up, and he said he wanted Thurman because that's at the time he wasn't talking. And this is the thing that a lot of these clowns keep saying. That, oh, well, if Crawford wanted Spence, why did he, when he moved up, he was calling out Keith Thurman instead of Spence? You see, I mean, these guys are so ridiculous. I mean, why call out Spence when Spence had no belt? Okay? Thurman had both of the belts. If Spence had a belt, he probably had one belt. So why would you call out, why wouldn't you call out the main 147? Who at that time was Thurman? Why would you call out Spence? For what? So, these guys continue this silly narratives, about, oh, he didn't want Spence because he called out Thurman. Yeah, he called out Thurman because Thurman had the belt. He had both belts. He was the man. And so he's calling out the man. And now that Spence is the man at 147, he's calling out Spence. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You see? So, but it is what it is. So, again, at this point, as I'm here talking with you guys and talking about this fight, Blue Blood and Fannin probably over there running their narrative about fighting Jermell at 154 pounds. Now that's not a bad fight to make. I mean, I don't think. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a good fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, but again, I want to see Spence and Crawford first. Crawford try to become undisputed 147, or whoever become undisputed 147, whether it's Spence, Crawford, or Oops, okay? Somebody, needs to be undisputed 147, and then that guy can move and fight Jermell Charlo if it's Crawford, okay? Which more than likely is probably going to be Crawford, okay? So that's what I would like to see, and that would be a good fight, man. Jermell Charlo is a big guy, okay? But Jermell Charlo, I think that if Jermell Charlo fought in his pre-Derrick James style, which is the he had a different style before he moved to come with Derrick James, okay. He'd probably give Crawford more trouble. Right? That style, he does a lot of moving and fighting on the back foot. The Jermell Charlo, the Derrick James Jermell Charlo is going to be running some problems if he try to go fight the way he knock out, like he's going to try to knock out Crawford and try to go for the knockout against Crawford. It's not going to work. Okay. So I think his best bet is to box more with Crawford than to try to impose his will on Crawford. I don't think that's going to work. Impose his size and strength on Crawford. But you never know. He might be able to pull that off, but I don't think so. But it would definitely be an interesting fight. I mean, it would really be an exciting fight. I would think. I mean, Jermell Charlo has power. He can fight. He can box. Okay, I don't think his inside fighting is that good. I think Crawford probably got better inside, and better body work than he does. I would not think I have better work to the body. I think Crawford probably have a more versatile repertoire of in terms of punch selection. Okay, and so I think then he can switch on top of that. So I think it'll give Jermell a lot. You give any fighter a lot of trouble, really. Okay, so I don't think Jermell would necessarily be much of an opposition in the sense that because he's 154 pounds and he's a big guy that he would just walk over Crawford. I don't think that would happen. Okay, but we have to see how it plays out because at the end of the day, style make fights. Okay, and that it is what it is. Okay, so it'll be an interesting thing to see. But again, I'm not really interested in seeing that until after I see, until after whether everything at 147 pounds is out and we get an undisputed. Okay, whether it's Crawford, Ugas, or Spence. Okay, and then the guy moves up and fight Jermell Charlo. Okay, and then you also got another guy coming to 147 soon, which is Josh Taylor. So it's another thing. I don't know how that's going to play out. Okay, but he's gonna try to probably making some noise at 147 soon. So at the end of the day, Errol Spence, reign at 147 been iffy to say the least. He hasn't fought much. Okay, mostly fighting once a year for the most part, and I haven't really accomplished much at 147 pounds. He hasn't really fought nobody, really. I mean, except for Sean Porter. He fought Sean Porter. Sean Porter already lost twice before he fought. Well, he had a draw and a loss to Book before he fought Spence, and a loss to Keith Thurman. So Porter had 2 losses and a draw before he fought Errol Spence. Spence didn't take his O. Okay. Spence fought Mikey Garcia. He took Mikey Garcia over. Mikey Garcia came from lightweight. Okay. He fought Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia already lost to Keith. Had lost to Porter. Okay. Before he fought Spence. Okay, he had already lost. Okay. And so, Spence didn't really accomplish much. He basically fought other people's leftovers. Keith Thurman leftovers, as Keith Thurman has said on many occasions. Okay. He fought Book. Booker was coming off of a loss against Triple G, and not just any loss, but a brutal loss against a guy like Triple G with a broken eye socket, and he spent less than a year after that injury. So, I mean, when you look at what Spence has done at welterweight, it's not that impressive. Basically, that's what it comes down to. So I'll just talk about Spence and this, that, and the other. It's just a bunch of talk. It's just narrative. It has nothing to do with reality, people. And, and as we can see, the reality of the situation is that Spence right now has a chance to actually fight somebody that's actually undefeated, somebody that's, could give him a challenge, somebody that can give him a big payday, and he don't want to take the fight. Okay, I mean, the biggest payday of his career. He don't want to take it. Okay, so it is what it is. Okay, we gotta see for what it is. So all this myth about Spence and him being the boogeyman and all that other foolishness that people talk about, there's no basis for that. Okay, and the fact that Spence is ducking and continues ducking and keep avoiding and making himself look really bad, even to his own fans by continually ducking this fight with Crawford, it's just a bad look, period, man. And it doesn't really say much about Spence. And I at this point, his legacy, I'm thinking that his legacy is going to be one, not a good one if he doesn't fight Spence. I mean, if he doesn't fight Crawford, a good legacy. Win or lose, his legacy is going to be better if he fights Crawford than if he doesn't fight him, because people are going to say, and they're going to be right, that he ducks Crawford, and he has ducked Crawford. He's ducking Crawford now, and more than likely is probably going to continue to duck Crawford. Okay, and nobody will say that it's not so, because they're seeing it play out right in front of their eyes. It's just undeniable at this point, especially after what Tim Smith came out and said. Okay, so what more do we need to know? At this point, people, I think I'm going to leave it here, because there's not much more to say on this subject. Okay, as I said at the beginning of this broadcast, As on the PBC, the PDC, the Premier Ducking Champions, are doing everything in their power to duck Terence Crawford, and the ducking continues. Okay, now people get upset when you say Errol Spence is a duck, but he's a duck. A duck is a duck. I mean, if you walk like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. Okay? And this is what Errol Spence is doing. And everything that comes out of his mouth is a quack. Okay, at the end of the day, every word that comes out of Errol Spence's mouth starts with a Q. Okay, quack, quack, quack. So enough is enough. I just hope at this point, I'm just hoping that Ugas can actually pull off this fight with Errol Spence, because I want to see undisputed. And if Errol Spence wins against Ugas, we'll never see undisputed. Okay, he's gonna try to wait out Crawford until Crawford either moves up or whatever, and so he can get a easy route to undisputed. Okay, Errol Spence wants to take another easy route, but this time he wants an easy route to undisputed. Okay, so it is what it is. I mean, people can put up with this crap. I don't know, but I'm over it, man. At the end of the day, and like I said before, and I'm going to say it again before I leave out of here, the only way we're going to get Errol Spence in the ring with Crawford is to drag his ass into the ring, kicking and screaming against his will the whole way. If we don't do that, this fight will never happen, people. I see Tim Smith just confirmed what I'm saying. Okay, so I don't know more else to say. At that point, at this point, what else is there to say? There's nothing else. Anybody, all this talking, people out there talking, it's just a waste of talk, a waste of breath. Okay, they're out there talking about Errol Spence and Crawford, and they putting up odds, and they're talking about the odds, and they're talking about how they're gonna play out, and what fight? This fight is not going to happen, boy. This fight is not happening if Errol Spence got anything to do with it. And Tim Smith just came out and backed him on that, okay? And so all these fools out there believing that out there running their mouth about Spence wanting this fight, it's a big, fat lie, okay? There's no such thing. And again, Tim Smith, not just anybody from PBC, but one of the bosses over there just came out and set the record straight for all you people out there who think that Crawford is going to fight Spence next, or Spence is going to fight Crawford next. Tim Smith just came out and told you that ain't happening. Doing it. The hell with that. We don't care what the fans want. Okay? We don't care what you fans want. We're not giving you this fight because we're not letting Spence fight Crawford. And that's that. So it is what it is. Okay, let's see what you all is saying. I truly believe PBC will refuse to give Crawford any of their champions unless they get Crawford under some contract control. Until then, we can forget about Crawford versus any PBC champion at any weight. Good point there, Errol Thomas. I'm going to have to agree with you on that, bro. I mean, that's what I've been saying all this time. So, I mean, of course, I'm going to agree with that. Okay. Yeah, I don't see it happening until, Crawford goes in the contract. But I don't see Crawford going on the contract with PBC until PBC give him a respectful offer. I don't think Crawford is taking it personal in the sense that, but unless they offer, all this talk about him, signing with TMT, Mayweather, it's all bullshit. That's not going to happen. I mean, who? I mean, now don't get me wrong. Mayweather is my guy. My channel is called TBE after Floyd Mayweather. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, he's probably the best fighter we've seen in this generation. Except we got Terence Crawford now, but so make no mistake, I'm a Floyd Mayweather guy. Okay, I'm a TBE guy. Okay, but I haven't seen anything from Mayweather as a manager or as a promoter that would make me, if I'm Terence Crawford, want to sign with him. That's just the reality of it. Okay, I haven't seen anything like that. Okay, now if we're gonna talk about Gervonta Davis, okay, and what he has done with Gervonta Davis, I mean, I don't know, I'm not really much of a fan of all this make him a star business. I don't know what it's about. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, and I'm not with that at all. Okay, for me, it's called boxing, not stars. Okay, called boxing, and your accomplishment in the ring is what determines what you are as a boxer, or what your status is as a boxer. You know, in terms of being a star, not a star, or whatever, or pound for pound or whatever. That's what I see. Not pay-per-view buys and whatever bullshit, that metric that people want to come up with to try and make their fighters more than what they are because their fighters not doing anything in the ring to accomplish. Okay, so instead of putting their fighters in there with the best and making the fighters, you know, either become good or, you know, sink or swim, they're creating new metrics to measure their fighter and say, oh, he's a star. You know, he wears size 10 shoes, so he's a star. Okay, he got 200,000 pay-per-view, so he's a star. So that makes him better than the guy, the boxer, who's actually a boxer, who's actually fighting real fighters and making real progression in the ring. Okay, so we're gonna make our fake fighter, who's not fighting anybody, be a star over the real fighter because he has pay-per-view buys, or he wear Jordan shoes, or, you know, he got on Jordans, or whatever stupid reason they come up with, okay, to try and say that such and such a fighter is a star, whether it's pay-per-view buys or whatever the hell they want to come up with. But at the end of the day, your accomplishments in the ring is the primary metric to determine your position as a star or not a star in the boxing. Okay, and you're not going to change that, you know, with this bullshit that we see coming from Leonard Ellaby, okay, talking about numbers and this and that and all that bullshit. You know, it's all bullshit. Okay, so if they want to do that over there, PDC, and claim that their fighters are stars because they have 20,000 pay-per-view buys and they're faking the numbers. Like I said, it's all fake. It's a metric they're trying to develop to put them in a category that the fighters belong in, that the fighter has not earned, or that the fighter can't get to because they're not fighting the right people to get there. Okay, that's all it is. It's a scam. Okay, it's the same as those franchise belts that they come up with all over the place. You know, WBC. It's all of that, and these pay-per-view star stuff. It's all a big scam. Okay? To make these fake boxes and, you know, with their fake records and their built-up record, they're trying to make these guys into stars because they can't do it no other way, because these guys are not going to fight their way to the top. Okay, so they got to scam their way to the top, and that's what they're doing over there at PBC with these, you know, so-called pay-per-view stars that they have with their fake pay-per-view numbers. Okay, I mean, it's a joke. You know, and for people to fall for that, you know, it just shows you how the intelligence, man. It's a big joke to me, really. Okay, and I'm not falling for that at all. So whatever, you know, whatever Floyd Mayweather is doing over there with, you know, or Leonard Ellaby is doing, you know, the so-called star Gervonta Davis over there, where they, you know, padding his record and having him fight, you know, junior weights and bantam weights. I mean, it is a joke. Yo, this guy, you know, 100-pounder fighting guys at junior featherweight. I mean, what the hell? You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, so this is what is going on over there at PBC at the end of the day. And so if I'm Crawford and I'm looking at that, I'm saying to myself, what the fuck? What am I don't want to know part of that. Okay, so at the end of the day, you know, Mayweather is, you know, TBE, okay, but in boxing and fighting, not in managing. Okay, so we don't know what he can do as a manager, and you know, I just don't see Crawford putting himself in a position where he's going to have Mayweather sunning him like he's sunning, you know, he's sunning Gervonta Davis every chance he get. You know, I mean, you know, having this guy fight the fight that probably Davis don't even want. They probably want to fight real fights, but you know, they're not making him fight real fights. So you're going to do that to Crawford? Crawford's not going to stand for that. You know, even though Crawford's the kind of guy who will fight anybody you put in front of him, but I would think that he's not going to be one to get sunned by Mayweather. Okay, I mean, you know, he's a grown man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get sunned by Mayweather, and that's probably what's going to happen over there. You know, I mean, because PBC and Mayweather, what's at the end of the day, you know. So if PBC don't have the money for him, where's going to get the money for him? Okay? If PBC has no money for Floyd Mayweather, if PBC has for Crawford, where's Floyd going to get the money from? So, you know, it doesn't make any sense at the end of the day, people. And, you know, we can see the games being played, and, you know, there's a lot of games being played. So, I don't see, you know, Crawford moving to PBC under the circumstances, unless they, you know, they get off the pot, you know, and actually make him a real offer and a risk offer. Okay, because I mean, at the end of the day, if we had Crawford over at PBC would blow up like, you know, I mean, that would be I mean, but you know, it is what it is. They don't have him. They have, you know, their fighters that they have over there who barely fighting anybody, you know, and scared to fight other people. So I mean, what PBC needs a guy like Crawford, okay, a warrior like Crawford, a guy who's not scared to fight anybody, they can put him up against anybody and be confident that he's gonna beat that guy and keep the belt over at PBC. Okay, so they want Crawford to sign with PBC so that if he come over there and beat their guy, they can have him as their champion. Okay, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in theory, but the way to go about getting that done is not the way PBC is doing it. That's not the way it is to get it done. If you want to get it done, you go to Crawford, you sit down with man to man, and you talk to him like a man, and you say, "Listen, you know, we want you over here, man. You know, you're a great fighter. We love the way you fight, bro, and we think you're the best. At the end of the day, we know that you're probably gonna beat our guy if we bring you over here, and so we just want, you know, a piece of the action. And so let's work. If you win, you know, we can get you can do 3 or 4 more fights over here at PBC, and we can work together. I mean, you know, let's do that, bro. I don't think Crawford would have any problem with that. Okay, I don't think so. All right, I don't think he'd have any problem with that. But you have to go to the man as a man and talk to him as a man. You can't try to sun him or try to disrespect him and then, you know, tell him, oh, sign with TMT or come and sign with Mayweather. And then, I mean, all these little foolish games that they're playing, you know, I mean, it's silly, okay? And if they really wanted Crawford, then they wouldn't be playing those games. So I don't think they really want Crawford at the end of the day. I'm not sure what they're doing over there, what their game is, okay? They want Canelo because they're willing to pay him anything. They have plenty of money for Canelo, okay? But, you know, for some reason, I don't know what it is to deal with Crawford, but, you know, we'll see how this all plays out, you know. But I don't think trying to sun Crawford is going to help PBC. That's not going to get Crawford over there if you really want him over there. And I think PBC needs Crawford. They need him over there, okay? Because who they got over there? At welterweight, really, nobody. You know, Spence. And we're going to see it play out. You know, when he fights Ugas, okay. So you know, they need Crawford at PBC, right? Okay, they can really use him over there. He's a real fighter. I mean, you know, a guy that can move up again and never wait and get another title again at 154 pounds if they let him go, if they give him the opportunity. But I don't think he should do that until he clear up what's at 147. I don't think he should leave 147 and give Errol Spence an easy route to the undisputed. I don't think so. No. Errol Spence needs to earn his keep. Okay, he earned what he's getting. He needs to earn that a chance at undisputed. And the man right now that he needs to face for undisputed is Crawford. And that's the fight he should be taking. Stop with the nonsense. Stop with the ducking. Stop with the hiding. Stop with the narrative. Stop with the games, and just be a man and face Crawford. Okay, and get this thing over with instead of holding up the division for all these years like you've been doing. Okay, so this is what needs to happen. So if I'm Crawford, I'm not going anywhere until I take care of the Spence issue at 147, and then I'll move up. Okay, that's how I see that. And so with that said, I'm going to leave it here. This is TBE Boxing saying make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you can get the latest news and the real commentary on what's really going on in boxing. Go to tbeboxing.com, okay, and check out you know, got going on over there. And also don't forget that you know, we have TBE Sports. We're going to be talking MMA and all of that. TBEcombatsports.com. The website's already up. You can go and check it out as well. You can go to the YouTube channel TBE Boxing, TBE Combat Sport. But we don't have any videos there yet. But we're going to start putting videos up. So anyway, that's all I have for right now. This is TBE Boxing.